All right, so remember, the first part about solving equations is that we are trying to get the variable alone. Okay, so that's the whole point. We are trying to get the variable alone. We want that x alone, okay? The next thing, the next first step is that we want to draw the river. Okay, so I know these steps seem silly, but we need to do them in a specific order, and we need to make sure we are doing them properly, okay? Because if we do them out of order or in the wrong fashion, it's not going to be the right answer, okay? So you really need to make sure that you're doing them in the correct order and that you're doing everything properly, okay? So after we draw the river, we do the opposite of addition or subtraction first, okay? So we want to do the opposite of addition or subtraction first. Then, secondly, we can do multiplication or division, okay? And I'm going to be writing my steps out, and I want to see you writing all of your steps out. So after we do the opposite of addition or subtraction, then we do the opposite of multiplication or division. Wrong. All right. And then after we do that, then our last step is to simply simplify. Okay. There's one thing you need to remember though. There's one crucial thing that you need to remember. What we do to one side of the equation, we always do to the other. Okay, so I can't emphasize that enough. All right, to make sure you got all of the steps down, and then we'll start looking at example 1 together. Okay, so remember the first thing we do is draw the river. So again, I said this before, but you really need to make sure you're writing down the steps exactly how I'm saying them, because we're starting off with easy equations, but it builds upon itself, okay? So the next thing we do is do the opposite of addition or subtraction first, okay? So I see addition here. So I'm going to do the opposite of addition, and I'm going to subtract. And remember, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side, okay? Which means these cancel out. Which, remember, we brought down an x, but now whatever we see is what we're bringing down. So now we're bringing down a 2x. We bring our equal sign down. And then what is 13 minus 5? 13 minus 5 is 8. So now it's like I'm looking at a new problem. It's like, here's my next problem I'm looking at, right? And to undo that, or to solve this, because remember, the whole point is to get this x alone, right? So we have to look at what's in between this 2 and this x. There's implied multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So divide both sides by 2. Divide both sides by 2. These 2's cancel. My x gets brought down. My river, my equal sign comes down the river. And then 8 divided by 2 is 4. So that's going to be my first answer. All right, so we're going to go over here to example 3, which isn't actually example 3, but that's okay. As always, we draw the river. We have to do the opposite of addition or subtraction first, so we have to do the opposite of adding 5. So we're going to subtract 5 on both sides. Those cancel. We bring down our negative x. Don't lose that negative. Our equal sign flows down. 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Now, is this our answer? The answer to that question is no, because there's a negative in front of this x. Negative x is not the same thing as x. Okay, there's an implied negative 1 here. So we can never have negative x. Okay, that's a no-no. It always has to be just x. So what we have to do is we have to divide both sides by negative 1. You may be thinking, but why division, Miss Myers? Because remember, technically, in between this 1 and this x is that multiplication symbol, right? So in between there, there's multiplication. So in order to negate that, and for this to become x, we have to divide. And then negative 4 divided by negative 1 is a positive 4. So that turned out to be the answer to both of our examples. All right, we're going to do one more together, and then I'll have you do 1 or 2 on your own. All right, so example 4, always start with the river. Okay, opposite of addition or subtraction first. So we had minus 7, so we're going to add 7 to both sides. This gets canceled out. This 1/4 x gets brought down. Our equal sign comes down. Negative 3 plus 7 is a positive 4. Now, remember, we have multiplication in here. The opposite of multiplication is division. So our 1/4s cancel, and we're left with x equals, and I'm going to do some side math over here. So I'm going to do 4 divided by 1/4. Remember, whenever we're dividing by fractions, we do keep, change, flip. So it's really 4/1 times 4/1, which is 16/1, which is just 16. So then our answer is 16. If you plug that in the calculator, don't worry about my example over there, but just wanted to walk through that one more time. For now, I'm going to skip example 5, and I'm going to jump down here to example 6. Okay. Okay, so this looks a little different. So we're going to go through this one, and we draw the river. We always do the opposite operation. So the opposite of +9 is -9. Those get canceled. Bring down our negative w/6. Our equal sign comes down. 2 minus 9 is -7. Now, remember, if I have a fraction bar, that really means division. So what's the opposite of division? Multiplication. So I should be multiplying both sides by 6. Should this 6 be positive or negative, do you think? Well, we have to get rid of that negative, so we might as well do it now. So it should be a -6 that we're multiplying both sides by. That way we cancel both the 6 and the negative sign. So that way I'm just left with w, because that's the whole point, right? And then -7 times -6 is 42. All right, so I'm going to jump down again to example 7. This one looks a little different. This one looks a little cray to me. I don't know about you guys. This is called a complex fraction. So normally we do the opposite of addition, and then we do multiplication or division, right? So this one's going to be a little opposite, because we have this 5 down here because of this. If it was just If it was just x over 5 minus 2, that would be a completely different ballgame. That would be like the above example. But this 5 is divided by everything, or everything's divided by that 5. So that makes the problem a little different than how we normally use it, okay? So in this case, we have to do the opposite of division first. So we multiply both sides by 5. Now that's going to cancel those 5s out. That's going to leave me with this that I just bring down, right? So I just bring down x minus 2, bring down my equal sign. And then what's 6 times 5? 6 times 5 is 30. And now this looks like a problem that I definitely have solved before. Do the opposite of subtraction, which is addition. Those cancel. And I'm left with x equals whatever 30 plus 2 is, which is 32. Okay, so we have a couple things that we skipped, right? So we skipped this whole half. This whole half. I want you to try these on your own, and we can check on Monday. Okay, so I want you to try these on your own, and then if you want to go over these, check these on your own. And yeah, we can go over these in class on Monday. Okay, so make sure you ask about them.